Hi there, I'm Krithika, and today I'm going to show you how I made rolled cone polymer clay beads. Here's a list of the tools and supplies you need for this tutorial. You can get this full list and instructions for the project in your free PDF downloadable at tinypandora.com. I'm starting with half an ounce each of fuchsia and cobalt blue. Rolled it out to approximately the same size rectangle. I'm going to cut it across the diagonal, flip over each color on itself, and butt them up together to run through the pasta machine to blend them. You can see here my cobalt is a lot softer than the fuchsia. This made the blend go a little bit wonky, but it'll all work out in the end. You'll see. I'm going to roll over this with an acrylic roller, then peel it off my work surface with a tissue blade and feed it through my pasta machine. I'm blending it at a third thickest setting, which is what the sheets were at in the first place. And you can see I'm using a magnetic tool to limit the width of my pasta machine, because for this amount of clay, it would spread all over and get wonky very quickly. You can use a block of clay, some magnets, or a dowel to do the same thing. Once I'm happy with what the blend looks like, I'm going to stretch it out to fill the width of my pasta machine and take it through thinner and thinner settings all the way up to the fourth thickest setting. Then I'll rotate it and pass it through the fifth thickest setting on my pasta machine. This is the thickness at which I like to roll my beads. I like to use the full length of the template, and the sheet isn't long enough to do that yet. So I'm going to stretch it out a little bit by hand to get it to the length that I want. I suggest experimenting with some scrap clay to figure out what settings and what length works for you, because everybody's opinion is different. This is just what I like to do to get my cone beads. I'm also placing my clay on a sheet of paper just so it's easy to move it around and peel off any excess clay after I cut out my shape. I'm placing the largest template here and using the corner of my tissue blade to skim against the edge of the acrylic template and cut the clay. I also like to leave some extra clay on the top and bottom of the template, and you'll see why later. Now I'm going to peel apart the excess clay carefully. Still leave it on the sheet of paper, because I'm going to use the rest of that sheet for more beads. And I can just use the acrylic template as a handle to hold on to this clay. Now this is an optional step, but I like to highlight the top edge of this clay triangle with a little bit of platinum colored Inca Gold. It's a paste product that comes in different metallic shades. Platinum works really nicely to highlight that edge. And it looks great when it's all rolled up to differentiate each layer from the next. This is absolutely optional. You don't have to do this. You can also use paint or mica powder or any other product you like. Just pick a color that contrasts with your veneer. Once this Inca Gold has dried, which is pretty quickly, I'm going to place this clay side down on another sheet of paper, and I'm going to cut an angled edge on that excess clay that I have at the widest end. This is where the extra clay comes in handy. I also use that extra clay as a handle to peel the clay off the acrylic template. It should come off very easily. Just make sure you don't tug and crack the clay sheet while you do this. Now I'm going to take a size 00 knitting needle and place it on that widest end and fold over the beveled edge onto the knitting needle. I like to use a thinner mandrel in this case because then later I can use a head pin and the channel is just wide enough to not let the base of the head pin all the way through. With a thinner mandrel like this, the first couple of rolls will be a little bit difficult. You can see my stiff fuchsia clay wants to crack on me here. As long as the edges are neat, that shouldn't matter at all because that part of the bead is going to be covered up by the later layers. So once I'm happy with the first couple of rows, I'm going to hold the needle up and keep twisting it to finish the fully rolled bead. Once that's done, I'm going to press the narrow end against the bead. And then before I put it in the oven to cure, I'll use a tissue blade to mark a nice center line for me to cut through later. When the bead is still warm from the oven, I'll use that same guideline that I've made and push a nice stiff razor blade through it to cut the bead into two pretty much perfect cone beads. This is much easier when the clay is warm from the oven. Here's all the beads that I made using the blend from earlier and the little bit of scrap clay that I had left over. Now I'm going to convert a couple of these cones into earrings. Here's the process I followed to make a simple wire wrap loop on top of the cone. I'm using needle nose pliers to push the wire at an angle, and looping pliers to sort of clutch the wire in between and wrap around one of the looping arms. And the little piece that is missing here is that I slide a ear wire through the loop that I just made and then use needle nose pliers again to hold on to that loop and another pair of pliers to pull the free end around the base to seal off the loop. Pair of flush cutters to snip the end, and that's one earring ready. You can see the same process all over again for the second earring, only a lot more speeded up. This process is really awkward to show in a video, at least for me. So please check out the PDF for links to far better tutorials on how to do this part. Or you can choose to finish these off in any way you like. Now here's a little bit of show and tell, starting from earrings made during this tutorial with the widest template, then another pair with the medium template, exact same method, and for the smallest template, which will come up next, I rebaked it after filling in the hole made by the needle and then attached a pair of posts at the back for some fun stud earrings. And these were made with two different size cones with a medium and large template, and I attached the larger cone at the bottom to make a pair of fun tiered earrings. Same with these, except a teeny tiny cone dangles off the larger one. That was made with a shorter length, not the full length of the template. These are with the medium template, and I just mixed and matched cones from different beads. And then the tiniest template again. So I hope you see there are lots of variations with this tutorial. I hope you'll give it a try and have some fun with it.